Hello everybody, welcome to Savage Ink Studios. I'm your host Ink, and today's Sketchbook Storytime is a Valentine's Day special, which means our picture and the story are both going to be Valentine's Day based. But before we hop into the story, fun fact, did you know that lovebirds are actually hyper aggressive birds that even big birds like macaws are afraid of? And if you were to put a lovebird in a cage with, say, a canary or a parakeet, they would actually chew off their beaks so that they would starve to death. So, yeah, there's your fun fact of the day. Lovebirds are actually assholes. Alright, so today's story, in honor of our February holiday, is going to be how I met my boyfriend, the person that I'm with now. And this is a fun story. So, I met him years ago, probably like 4 years ago-ish, when I was working at a gas station. And he was one of my regular customers who I, enjoyed seeing him come in because he was always very pleasant and polite, which in the area that I was working in was not super common. And he was a big spender. Which the gas station that I worked at was like super competitive. You have to sell more boxes of ice cream than every other gas station when it's that time of the month rolls around, and it's very, very competitive, and you win prizes and they pitch you against each other. It's like miniature Hunger Games. It's great, and I happen to be a really competitive person, so I would push those sales on everybody. And he came in once, and I'm like, hey, you know what, gelato's on sale, and it's really, really good, and it's always super expensive, you should get some. And then he bought like 4 of them and paid for them and went to walk away, but left them on the counter. And I'm like, hey dude, you forgot your gelato. And he's like, you keep it. Should have been a sign, right? So I had transferred gas stations, stores, when I moved to be to one closer to my house. So shortly after moving to the new gas station, I started seeing him in that one, and I'm like, oh, you traitor, what are you doing here? Don't you belong at the other store? And he's like, oh, I go to both. So, no big deal, whatever. So on my days off, I would take Ivy, Crow, and Nigma to my little gas station to get them ice cream. And he was there every single day. Now, when I showed up on days off with the kids to buy him ice cream, he started like throwing 20s over my shoulder at the cashier, saying, oh, I got it, don't worry about it, whatever. So the first couple times I'm just like, wow, you really don't have to do that. I mean, like, thank you, but you really don't have to do that. And he's like, no, I don't mind, spread the joy, whatever. And I'm like, okay. But after the third time, I'm just like, okay, clearly you want something from me. Here's my number. Why don't we grab a coffee, and I will leave you wildly disappointed because I'm not attracted to men, and whatever it is that you want isn't going to happen. And I was very clear about that. I was very straightforward with, if that's what you're looking for, you're out of luck. So he takes my number and he says, well, how about instead of coffee, I buy you lunch? And I'm like, you know what, at this point I've been totally clear about my intentions. You want to waste your money to feed me, you go right ahead. I'm a fat kid, I love me some food, let's go. So we ended up going out to lunch and chatting, and a little awkward at first because I have close to no social skills, but even with all of the really weird, uncomfortable things that I would say, being that I have no social skills, he seemed to find it all very endearing. And we ended up being like really, really close friends. And the nice kind of friends. I mean, I suppose in order to be friends, that's supposed to be a nice thing, right? But I am not a party person, and I feel like most of the people that I've met in my lifetime are people who would rather, like, go out to a bar or go out to a party or drink shots out of dick-shaped shot glasses, and I'm not that person. So finding a friend who was cool with just, walking down a riverside or walking through the woods and talking about life was really, really nice, because those are the things that I like to do. So we were friends for a long time, and it probably should have been a, a little more obvious, I guess, that he was interested in more, but I'm me. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm me. Anyway, we were really close, had a great friendship. I met his kids, all that jazz. And eventually we kind of just ended up going our separate ways for a little while. Which, was sad. It wasn't even like a big falling out. It was just, life happens and we got busy. And so we didn't talk for a little while. And then something happened that made me realize how much I really valued this guy's friendship. My dad passed away, and the only people in the world that I even wanted to talk to, really, was my mom, Ivy, and him. And I just wanted to shut everybody else out, but for some reason, even though we hadn't spoken in months, he was the person that I wanted to cry to, I guess. The person that I wanted, supporting me. And I called him that night, even though we hadn't talked in a while, and it felt kind of awkward because I'm not good at reaching back out to people after, not talking for a while, or reaching out to people in general. And I told him what happened, and he said, give me 20 minutes, I'll be right there. And he came, and I cried, and he didn't leave my side for, not literally, but figuratively, I guess. He didn't leave my side for weeks. He called, texted every day, showed up whenever he could, made sure I was okay. And he showed up to my dad's funeral, which was a really big deal for him. He was not the funeral type of guy, and the fact that he showed up there to try and support me and didn't ask me if I was okay was such a huge thing, because obviously I'm not fucking okay. Like, my dad just died. I can't tell you how many people asked me, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, no the fuck I'm not okay. Why would I be okay? And him and my mom and Ivy were the ones who told me, it's okay to not be okay. And I really feel like that's the only good thing to hear when someone passes, is it's okay to not be okay. So we became inseparable, and I realized, holy shit, I think I got the feels for this dude. And I struggled with that because I'm not the type of person who generally dates guys. I was kind of at a point where I didn't really want to be with anybody at all, but the more time I spent with him, the more I realized, like, how fucked up would it be to pass up a chance at someone who loves you because they have the wrong genitalia, or because you're scared, or whatever. If you find someone who is willing to back you and support you and love you, why would you ever turn that down? And it took some time for me to, pull my head out of my butt and, come clean about my feelings. And than I did, and here we are 2 years later, and still together and still good. And come to find out, though, after we had become friends, he let spill something. The gas station that I worked at was not a gas station that he actually went to. He actually lived way out of the way of said gas station and had just happened to cross it one day because he was getting his car fixed in the area. And he saw me and heard me talking to somebody and decided that this was the gas station that he was going to drive 15 minutes out of the way to go to every day from then on. And when I saw him at the gas station that I had transferred to, it turns out he had gone to the old gas station every day, hadn't seen me, and decided to ask one of the workers, like, hey, where's the one with the funky hair? And they're like, oh, she transferred to that store. And that's why he started driving again out of his way to go to that store. So it took him a while into our friendship for him to admit that he was actually stalking me the whole time, that, you know, he was just a regular customer at my store. But now it's just a cute, funny story that we joke about all the time, that I ended up, you know, just going out with my stalker and didn't even know it. So, yeah, that is the story of how I met my my person. Because saying boyfriend's just fucking weird still. and he's a cool dude, and I like him, and I'd like to think that I'm gonna keep this going. I really thought that this story was gonna last the whole time of this video, because it feels like a long story the times that I've had to tell it, but I guess... Sorry, I really don't know what to talk about now. I could just keep on, you know, throwing weird, wacky animal facts that you guys didn't ask for at you. I'm good at that. For example, did you know that emerald green tree pythons and boas are the only non-venomous snakes in the world with fangs their size? Very, very large fangs. And they are very, very cool, but also super intimidating. So, yeah. I apologize if I end up going over on my drawings and my story runs short. There's a good chance that I'm just going to start spewing random weird animal facts, because that's what I do when I feel like I'm stuck in a situation where I'm supposed to talk but don't know what to talk about. But we are coming up on the end of the video, so I hope you enjoyed my picture, and I hope you enjoyed my story. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.